In the ancient days of Middle-earth, long before the War of the Ring, a tale of bravery, sorrow, and immense beauty unfolded in the hidden valleys of Rivendell and the mysterious forests of Lothlorien. Our story begins with a young elf maiden named Elandra, whose name was hailed by all for her prowess with the bow and the wicked accuracy of her arrows. Elandra had golden hair that shimmered like dawn's first light and eyes that held the ancient wisdom of the Eldar. From a young age, she was bred for excellence, practicing her archery daily and often scaling the cliffs of Rivendell with ease, her light steps scarcely making a sound. Her bow, intricately carved with elvish runes, was a marvelous piece of craftsmanship. The elders whispered that it had been strung with the hair of a Maya, lending it unerring precision. One crisp, autumn morning, while the leaves were turning golden and the air was filled with a gentler yet solemn buzzing, Elandra huddled in the drawing room of Elrond's house. She was stowing her gear, preparing for a journey that had been charged to her by Lord Elrond himself. "Take these parchments," he said, handing her a bundle of weathered parchments bound with leather straps, "and deliver them to Lothlorien. Lady Galadriel must know of our dire news." Elandra's heart shivered at the solemnity of his words. Dark tidings indeed, she thought, as she set out on her journey. She walked tirelessly for days, often reviving her spirit by singing ancient elvish tunes that set the woods humming in response. Her path was not without peril, however. She encountered wretched orcs huddled in the shadows of the misty mountains, their eyes glowing with malevolence. But each time, her arrows flew true, and the orcs fell, their evil deeds ending in muffled gasps and cracking bones. One roaring stormy night, as thunder pounded the skies, Elandra sought refuge in a hidden cave. The cave was damp, its air heavy with the scent of poached earth and singed moss. A fire was lit, and she laid out her cloak to dry, feeling a shudder pass through her as the cold and wetness left her body. As she was about to sleep, she heard a sound that set her on edge. Someone, or something, was outside. With the grace of a cat, Elandra crept to the mouth of the cave and saw a figure scuttling along the cliff face. It was not an orc but another elf, as fair and noble as any from her homeland. "Greetings," he said as he neared, his voice a gentle breeze in the storm. "I am Lindar, sent by Lady Galadriel to meet you halfway and deliver you to Lothlorien safely." They continued the journey together, crossing wretched swamps and dense forests. Lindar was a skilled warrior and his company a comfort. As they traveled, he shared tales of Lothlorien, of its silver brooks and the heartflower gardens tended by elven maidens. He spoke of Lady Galadriel's immense wisdom and the marvelous architecture of Karas Galadhon, where light and shadow play in an intricate dance. The two elves soon faced their greatest trial when they were ambushed by a band of orcs. Elandra's eyes narrowed, her emotions tightly wound as they sprang into action. Arrow after arrow flew, accompanied by the sound of strings snapping and orcish cries. She stood back to back with Lindar, their movements precise and deadly. At one point, an orc tried to handle her bow, but found himself quickly disarmed by her dagger's hilt. Among the orcs was a wicked chieftain, who seemed to grow stronger with every elf that fell. His scowling face was marred with scars, and he wielded a great axe with terrifying skill. While Lindar was engaged with another foe, the chieftain charged at Elandra. She met him head-on, their weapons clashing with deafening sounds. For a moment, she was flummoxed by his sheer strength. Her arm felt stiff and her grip in danger of slipping. But summoning her last reserve of strength, she struck a powerful blow, and her opponent fell to the ground, his evil eyes finally closing. The elven warriors had victories to match their losses. Lindar and Elandra used herbs from the forest to mend their wounds, but the memory of their comrades lost in battle hailed them with sorrow. Upon reaching Lothlorien, they were greeted by Lady Galadriel herself. Elandra's heart swelled with a mix of awe and relief as Galadriel's soothing presence encircled her, much like the silken cradles of spider webs that softly catch the morning dew. The Lady of Lothlorien listened intently as Elandra recounted the perilous journey and the grim messages she brought. The parchments from Elrond were stowed and carefully read in private councils. Days turned into weeks as Elandra healed among the gentler folk of Lothlorien, finding solace in the beautiful music, the elegance of the maidens' dances, and the tales shared by Lady Galadriel in the evenings. She often walked among the golden leaves of Lothlorien, feeling her spirit revived by the marvelous beauty all around her. As time passed, the urgency of war grew. The elves were assembling their ranks, preparing to aid their brethren in the battles to come. Elandra and Lindar were often seen practicing the arts of war, yet their minds were also occupied with gentler thoughts, finding in each other a kindred spirit amid the shadow of impending conflict. Finally, the time came to return to Rivendell, and Elandra left Lothlorien with a heart both heavy and hopeful. Lady Galadriel's counsel and the friendship of Lindar breeds in her a resolve unshaken by the darkness they all faced. As they approached the familiar cliffs of Rivendell, the skies were clear, and the air was filled with the promise of change. They were greeted by Elrond, whose wisdom-filled eyes seemed to penetrate the very fabric of time. In Rivendell, beneath the shimmering stars, Elandra stood with her new comrades, ready to face the perils of the world she now understood was both infinitely complex and deeply connected. With her heart fortified by love, friendship, and the knowledge that even in the darkest of times, light and beauty lay abreast, waiting to be born again. Thus ends the tale of Elandra, the brave and noble maiden of Rivendell, a warrior, a friend, and a beacon of hope in the ages of Middle-earth.